What is going on, guys? So in the last video I said that I wanted to start talking about the time breakers. So I got the demon realm out of the way in that video, and now I guess we can talk about the time breakers themselves. But first, I'm going to be covering Dragon Ball Heroes in depth over the next few weeks, waiting for the anime to come out. If you're not familiar with the series, have any questions, don't know much about it, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications and stick with me for the next few weeks, and we'll be going over the entire thing. That way, by the time the anime gets here, you should have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Now, something that most people may not be aware of is the fact that the Time Breakers are actually just a faction within an organization or an army that exist in the demon realm that is known as the Dark Empire, which is led by this guy named Mechikabura. As I was making this video, I decided that I wanted to talk about both the Time Breakers and the Dark Empire. Kind of hard to separate them, so that's going to be the focus of this video. Now, I was putting together a list and counting how many characters that I was going to have to actually discuss, and I stopped at 30, and still have a lot that I have not actually included yet. And that's a lot of people. That would be impossible to cover them all in this one video, and it would also be retarded to assume that I could try to cover them all in individual videos. So I've thought things through, I've divided things up, and I'm going to be doing this in over about 5 videos. After this video, I'll probably be doing 5 more on this topic. But they should be easy, and they should be quick. So I should have them up within the next few days. But for now, I'm going to be talking about the Dark Empire and the Time Breakers in general, focusing on the organization as a whole and their leaders as well as important events. Now, so like I said a few minutes ago, the Time Breakers are a faction that exists within a larger organization known as the Dark Empire in the Demon Realm. The entire group is made up of members of the Demon Realm race, and you'll find out that some of the characters that you should be familiar with are among the highest ranking members of the organization. We have the King of the Demon Realm, Dabura, his sister Toa, her husband slash creation Mira, and their son and clone Fu, who is also the heir to the throne of the Demon Realm, with the entire Dark Empire being under the control of a guy named Mechikabura. Now, the Dark Empire exists, but they don't appear to have any sort of ultimate goal. We know nothing of Mechikabura's motivations, although we do know that, like Demigra, he does have a grudge against the Supreme Kai of Time. We just don't know what it is. Even though we don't know what the ultimate goal of the Dark Empire itself is, we do know the reasons that Toa and Mira decided to create the Time Breakers faction. The first reason, which in my opinion is probably more important than the other reason, which you'll see in a moment, is to gather enough energy so they can break the seal that's on the entrance to the Demon Realm. It was sealed a long time ago, and it's said that if it ever breaks, chaos will erupt across the entire universe. And that's pretty much appeared to be their agenda throughout the whole thing, is just to cause chaos because of reasons. The second thing that motivated the creation of the Time Breakers is revenge against Boo for killing Toa's brother Dabura. You should remember Babidi put Dabura under mind control, and then Majin Buu ended up turning him into a cookie and eating him. The reason that I said that gathering energy for the seal was more important is because this revenge thing never really seems to be much of a priority. In all of the games that they've been in, they've pretty much just been based on them trying to gather the energy to break the seal. Now, it's also important to note that all of the primary members of the Dark Empire are members of the Demon Realm race. The members of the Time Breaker faction are not, while there are members that are demons within the Time Breakers. These demons come from races that are not from the Demon Realm. So, at some point, they never explain what happened, how it happened, but despite his insanely vast amount of power, Mechikabura dies, and Toa ends up taking over the entire Dark Empire. As I said a moment ago, we did not know Mechikabura's goals for the Dark Empire, but we do know the goals of the Time Breakers. So when Toa took over, her focus remained on the goals of the Time Breakers. So in a way, you could say that the entire organization took the name Time Breakers. The Time Breakers made their first appearance in an extremely unsuccessful game called Dragon Ball Online. In it, Mira travels forward in time to age 1000. And with the help of the Dark Namekians, he destroys New Namek. His ultimate goal, though, in this game is to recruit new members, as well as gather Goku's DNA. He's also trying to open up as many time rifts as possible so that he can cause different time paradoxes, because they put a strain on the universe and cause chaos. And even has the potential to destroy the entire universe if it goes too far, because it can only handle so much of a strain. Luckily, though, he obviously failed in his quest. Now, after that, the Xenoverse games, where their goal was obviously just to gather energy to break the seal. They're able to gather the energy by creating time portals and then infecting strong warriors with that mysterious purple energy that's glowing all around them that you see in all the bad guys in the game. This allows them to siphon the power from the battle from the other side of the time portal. This is basically, though, their goal in both games, and obviously, though, the Time Breakers failed in this one as well. So they made a short appearance in the Dragon Ball Fusions game, but that was irrelevant. They showed up to gather energy from Broly, and then Beerus showed up, and they left, obviously. And as far as I know, that's the extent of their role in that game. I've never actually played the game, so I don't know for sure. Now, that brings us to Dragon Ball Heroes. The game was released in 2010 originally, but between 2010 and 2016, there was really not much of a story to follow. However, that changed in 2016 when they actually started to implement an original storyline with its own new continuity. Now, the storyline does borrow from the plot of previous games, but there are some similarities, but it's still a different continuity. It's its own little thing. Now, there are so far 2 sagas that have been completed, the Dark Demon Realm Saga and the Dark Empire Saga. There's also a third, which is the current saga, called Universe Mission, or the Prison Planet Saga, and this is the saga that's going to be adapted into the upcoming anime, so I'm going to focus on the manga. Now, when the first manga of the series starts, it explains how Future Trunks was in trouble because he changed a timeline, and to make amends, he agreed to form the Time Patrol and work with the Supreme Kai of Time because other people were screwing with time. So they travel to where those people are. And this is actually the first time that the Time Breakers and the Time Patrol encounter each other. The members of the Time Breakers that are present were Toa, Myra, and Time Breaker Bardock. So Future Trunks starts to fight Time Breaker Bardock, and during the fight, the mask of Bardock gets cracked. And that crack allows him to remove the mask and break the mind control that he was under. So then both Bardock and Future Trunks fight Mira for a moment before we find out that they were just there to gather energy. Now, unlike the previous stories, instead of trying to gather the energy to break the seal on the Demon Realm, they're collecting the energy because Toa is apparently tired of losing and decides that it's time to break out their trump card, and she uses that energy to actually activate or revive Mechikabura. Now, once he has revived, the goal was no longer to gather energy to break the seal on the Demon Realm's entrance. The Revenge on Boo thing also took a backseat, as they spend the rest of the story trying to gather the Dark Dragon Ball so that Mechikabura can use the wish to regain his youth. And instead of relying on other demons and stuff like that from outside of the Demon Realm like the Time Breakers normally would have, Mechikabura dispatches some of the strongest people in the Demon Realm to gather them for him. Now, 2 things. It's obvious that Mechikabura is a Makaoshin, and in the group of people he sent out, there are 2 that I suspect of being the Makaio, but I cannot confirm that, and that's a topic for a different video. Now, the whole Dark Dragon Ball concept is interesting. Basically, a few of the Time Breakers were Dark Namekians, and one of them created a set of Dragon Balls. And upon completing them, balls fly into the air and shoot off in opposite directions, very similar to the way that the normal Dragon Balls do. However, instead of scattering around the Earth or even around the universe, they scatter across time as well. So as usual, though, time travel is the norm throughout this storyline. He's back. The Time Breakers have an extremely powerful addition to their arsenal, and while he's definitely the strongest of the people in the Demon Realm race, without anybody even coming close to his level of power, good or bad, but that's not the biggest thing that he brings to the table. So Mechikabura has the power to turn demons into demon gods, giving them an insane amount of power. And he does that for Toa, Dabura, and the people that he dispatched to gather the Dragon Balls. Finally, though, they do end up gathering all the balls, and he makes his wish. And it's at a great cost to the Time Patrol, because all that Chrono could do was to gather all of her energy, her power, and grab onto Mechikabura. and use her powers to transport both of them outside of space and time. Now, that's going to be important in the upcoming anime. The reason, or what she did, because that's going to have a lot to do with why Goku Zeno is even going to be in the storyline. Because he's trying to figure out how to save her and bring her back. So that's where we're at right now. We are at the prison planet arc, and we are going to stop right there for now. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. I've got a lot more Dragon Ball Heroes content planned I'll be putting out over the next couple of weeks, so come hang out with me. But I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment.